Well, howdy y'all, Handy Redneck here. It's May 23rd, 2019. It's 6:30 in the evening. Local weather station is reporting 87 degrees Fahrenheit. My local thermometer outside in the shade is saying it's 80 degrees Fahrenheit, so I'm going to say it's somewhere between 80 and 87 degrees Fahrenheit out. And I broke down and sealed up the house and turned on the air conditioners to try to cool it down. The dogs was melting there on the couch in front of the fan, so that's a good indication that it's time to turn on the air conditioner. Here where I live in Arkansas, growing up, we didn't turn on the air conditioner until it hit a 3 digits, 100 degrees or hotter for at least 3 days. But I guess I spent too much time up north and got used to cooler. So I'm melting myself, but it's time for a bit of a Yarden update. Earlier this week, I think it was, may have been late last week, we did some purple potatoes. Out of 7 plants, we got 11 potatoes. I've got those chitting up so we can put them back in the ground for a late harvest. But anyway, we'll start up here. We got some marigolds. These little ones here are the ones that started late. These bigger ones, I got a good bunch of the bigger ones planted out into the garden here and there, so that's great. Our ginger and turmeric have not popped up out of the dirt yet, but it shouldn't be too long, I don't think. Over here, you can see the pea vines. I had me 5 or 6 pea pods with peas in them today. Here's the thyme and marjoram mixed in with a couple onions. We got rid of one of them because it died off and started rotting. Sort of like this one's trying to do. It looks like it's trying to die off, so we can look at that. Here we have the avocado tree. As you can see, it's just covering itself in brand new gorgeous leaves. It's doing real good. The heirloom tomatoes are up and doing pretty good. Wasn't that long ago we did a video of pruning a pepper, and here's that pepper that we pruned up, and as you can see, it's just covering itself in new leaves down lower, new stems and everything. It's beautiful green and healthy. Our 2 mango trees. Funny thing about the mangoes is they'll produce roots before they produce leaves. So when I put them into these 5-gallon buckets, they kind of just stopped growing new leaves, and I'm pretty sure they're growing roots, and then they'll shoot up on that later. Over here, there's one of the tomatoes. We're finally letting it go bloom. It's about 2 foot tall. Over here in this container garden, we got our what is this? This is our chamomile. It's up nice and thick. The parsley, as you can see, is up and nice and thick. The echinacea down below, it's still there. It's just slow as all get out. Another project we're following up on today is the kiwi vine clippings. As you can see, 1, 2, 3, 4 of these is completely empty, but we got a couple that look like they might have actually taken root. At least one that looks like it actually rooted up, so we got more big long shoots that we can try some others with, so we ain't too worried about that. We got a nice little crop of French and Italian dandelions here. This is my Moringa oleifera. This one's about 3 years old now, and it's sprouting and leafing out with new growth. But we did some moringa seeds a while back, probably about 14 of them, and we got 4 baby moringa trees, also known as the tree of life. You can eat everything. You can eat the leaves, you can eat the stems, you can eat the fruit it produces. So that's why it's called the tree of life, is you can eat just about everything off of it. And we got us 4 more babies started. Hopefully one day we'll have a mess of them. We'll get out here in the Yarden a bit. I got to get out and get some mowing done because we've had some good rain, and that good rain has led to good growth. It's one of our stands of lemon balm. Next to it is lavender. Next to that is some Thai basil I got from a friend of mine named Mark Gordon, the Flatlander. Followed up next to that is some sweet mint. A little further over we got some rosemary, and then the big clump of lemon balm. And if you look in there, we got some poke salad growing in there too. Potato Tower 1 is pretty much all completely dug up. All the purple potatoes out of it anyway. And we got a white potato growing in here. I have no clue what it's going to do, but I went ahead and planted it, and we got some the giant marigolds around it. Over here we got 1 purple potato going and 1 white potato in Tower 2. Again, we had 4 potato plants in Tower 1 and 3 in Tower 2. Gave us a total of 7 plants that I dug up, and we got 11 potatoes. So not bad, but not good. I took those 11 potatoes and I'm going to chit them up and replant them, and we'll see about getting a second bigger crop. Over here, this is the G2 bed, and I think it's just getting too much shade where it's at. So, you know, we got the purple carrots and whatnot in there, but you know, I mean, look at those turnips. Those turnips are pathetic, and most of everything in this bed is kind of weak and pathetic. So I'm thinking a couple of things. It may be the type of topsoil I put in there may have had some chemicals or something in it that I didn't know about, and that's preventing the plants from maturing. So that, or like I say, it's back here in the shade. It gets shade all day, every day. So I'm sprouting up some lettuce, and we'll try it in there, see how it does. Over here in one of the buckets we got the cucumbers. They're starting to grow up the cages. The Tower 3 potatoes, is doing quite nice. Looks like something got in and got one of the taters that didn't get healed up, so we still got 5 growing in there, so that's good. Our bucket of beans, our bucket of tree sprouts, I'm pretty sure those have rooted up. We'll have to get those separated here pretty soon and in their own buckets and everything. Here's Tower 4. Tower 4 is going quite strong. Even the potato 5 that was lagging behind is now up, I think, high enough that we can backfill it. Here's the other cucumber bucket. If you look careful in there, you can see baby cucumbers on it. So hopefully that'll take off and cover this whole cage quite nicely. Our purple Molokai sweet potatoes are over here. They're really digging this hot weather. I'm not digging it so much, but it happens. Here's our tomato bed, and the onions is doing pretty good. A couple of the tomatoes look like they're doing pretty good, but if you look here, our celery ain't doing so good. We got rid of most of the spinach because it didn't do nothing. The peppers out here are lagging way behind. The tomatoes ain't as healthy as I'd like to see them. And I did plant some marigolds out here too. But I was gifted some rabbit manure too, so that got spread on and mixed in. So hopefully that'll give a boost and get these tomatoes and stuff going pretty good. Otherwise, you know, they're not looking so hot. Over here, we got a bucket with loofah gourds in it. Yeah, you know, they're really enjoying that bucket life. The other squashes, you know, they're not doing so good, but again, we put some well decomposed and rotted and fermented and juicy rabbit manure on everything. Got gifted some hot peppers along with that Thai basil, and we got the 5 of them out here. They're looking pretty happy. Again, I amended the soil that I was putting them in with some rabbit manure, and we fed up everything with a good nitrogen fertilizer. The buckwheat has already gone to bloom as itty bitty things, so I ain't holding my breath on them. The okra, they about died off. Again, I planted some marigolds over here, and they're seeming to do all right. We got 3 cherry tomatoes over here that you know, they're just weak and pathetic. But even the ones that same brand that we got up in buckets, they're doing weak and pathetic, and I'm gonna have to write a review, I think, to Baker Creek that these things just don't like growing. Butternut squash, these ones with the itty bitty leaves, they're from transplants, and they're doing horribly. But the ones from seed next to them ain't doing so bad. They yellowed up here recently, so again, I don't know if it's the soil they're in or something else. You know, I use the same soil throughout all the beds and buckets, and some of the buckets is doing good and some ain't. You know, here's sunflowers that are supposed to get up to 14 feet tall. You know, they're still continuing on and getting bigger, but they kind of look spindly and weak. I mean, even the purple potato or purple whole cowpeas underneath aren't looking so good. In comparison, you know, you got like this bucket of squash, but right next to it is a mustard green that's growing kind of wild in the grass next to it, and the mustard green's doing great. Over here, here's our corn and beans, and we got some cantaloupe growing in here. I'm just not sure that it was such a good idea to have this quote-unquote topsoil brought in. It just doesn't seem to be all that good. But much of what we're seeing out here that's having a bit of a hard time too was planted way early. You know, this bucket or this bed of dirt and everything has got the same soil in it as this bucket, and the loofahs is doing good. This bucket here's got the same stuff as the loofahs, but these squash ain't doing so good. But then again, this cucumber over here in this bucket with the same dirt is doing pretty good. Again, the cucumbers was put out a bit early, but they're coming around and they're starting to take off, so I just don't know. The weather's been real funky this year. Rain, keeping it cold longer. And now today, it's pushing 90 degrees out. It's just cold one day and really hot the next. Not really ideal conditions for growing things. But we still got stuff growing. You know, we got apples. I don't know if you can see them or not, but yeah, we got apples up here. We had mulberries up on the mulberry tree. Most of those is gone now. Up here on the walnut tree, we did have some walnuts, but we still got a couple. But I found 4 or 5 on the ground already where they dropped them, so I just don't know. On a note, y'all saw me hand pollinate the kiwi vines. Well, it didn't work. Not a one. So it was nice seeing baby kiwis though, or kiwi flowers. That was something interesting. Well, and that's about all. This here's a handy redneck. I'll talk to y'all later.